If you want to sell AI in 2025, the two things you need to learn is Vapi and Go Highelvel, and you need to learn how to connect them together and why they're such a valuable and good relationship. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start Vapi and how to connect it to Highlevel. A lot of people try this, and it's the number one tip that everyone messaged me, and I'm going to show you this one tip that's going to fix all your problems for you. My name is Alt, and I have an AI automation agency that I sell systems like this to small businesses. Please watch to the end of the video, and at the end, I'm going to show you how you can get access to a totally free high-level introduction course to get you started, and I'm going to show you a zero to hero training course for Vapi where you can start selling AI assistants in 2025 and have your own successful money-making AI automation agency. This video is going to be packed with information. I'm going to show you something from the start. I'm going to show you how to connect it and how to integrate it into Highlevel. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to have lots of fun, and it's going to be awesome. Let's get into it. Okay, when it comes to AI voice assistants, Vapi is still by far the best. No Go Highelvel has brought some out recently, but Vapi still can make outgoing calls, incoming calls. It is editable, what means we can change and edit the language models to your need and your price, and it's free to use. You just pay per usage, and you don't even have to have a subscription to those different accounts. And I'll show you what I mean. This is just going to be a basic over Vapi. The big course at the end, I'll show you how to link into it, or you can see all my other videos. But you go to Vapi, register for a free account, and you come to a dashboard like this. Now you can link up your phone numbers, which obviously you're going to want to do to make incoming and outgoing calls. But we can use the talk function for this. And what we're going to do is we're going to build an AI assistant. I'm going to call it the YouTube test, and it's just going to use blank. So what we're going to build today is we're going to build an assistant that is going to be able to create a contact in our Highlevel forward, and we're going to set a tag for it, and the Highlevel is going to do some things with the tags, and I'll show you how that happens. Right, so we have our little YouTube test in here, and this is a blank one in here, and I'm not going to go into so much details, but there's so many things to edit and change in here. It's really good because it shows you the price, it shows you the latency. I don't have to have an open AI account. So good to have. But little couple of settings I have in here. It's the mini cluster. And again, watch some of my other videos that really show you how and what all these settings do. But the GPT-4o model, I like to use the mini model because it's faster and cheaper. It shows you the prices in here. And transcriber, always leave like this. I like to go with 11 labs. Have Sarah in there for our tests. And all the other things you can twinkle with. But all I want to do is just have a welcome message. There. Welcome to the AI Automation Hub. So the main idea of this video is I want to show you how we're going to connect a caller up into Go Highelvel. So we're going to get them to get added into the CRM. If they're already added into the CRM, doesn't matter, but we're going to have a tag in our CRM, and depending on what the tag is, we're going to send a notification to our owners, and we're going to send them a welcome message via email, and you can even do it via text, and I'll show you how to do it. And we're just going to keep the prompting, again, simple. Lots of other videos out there to show the prompts, but here we go. I was going to say, hey, welcome to the AI Automation Agency. How are you doing today? So this is where it's going to get a bit tricky, but let's just hit publish, save it. So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to say, how are you doing today? They're going to answer back. One, give a funny reply to their answer of their greeting. I should probably put some question marks in here. So step 2, tell them that you are going to take down their email and send it to the owner Mike to send them a quote. Alright, so let's say this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep building on this. So it's going to say, hello, how are you doing? We're going to answer back with something funny. And then we're just going to say, let's say, for example, this is a quote building bot. You want a custom quote, and Mike needs to call them back. And we're going to tell them that we're going to take down their details and get Mike to call them back. Step 3, ask for their email address. Step, no, we should probably ask for their name first. Step 1, ask for their name. And that is step 3. Step 4, ask for their email. Alright, let's see if this works. Hopefully it records all through here, and let's give this a go.
Hello, welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Great to hear. Are you doing so great that you could win a gold medal in the Olympics of being awesome?
I am.
I'm going to take down your... Hey there, I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, so he can send you a quote. But first, could I get your name?
My name is David.
Nice to meet you, David. Now, could you share your email address with me so I can pass it along to Mike?
David@gmail.com.
Got it, david@gmail.com. Thanks for that.
Alright, that was the basics. Alright. So I need to add a couple of steps in here. Answer, give a funny reply. How are you doing today? Make sure the reply is not a question. Alright, so let's just have this in here. Now, to connect things to Go Highelvel, we're going to use a program called Make. And all we have to do is, again, it's a free program. So we're keeping our cost down. At the moment, this is costing 11 cents per minute. Now, Make.com, if you just come and register at Make.com, it's free. You get 1,000 free automations to do. And what we're just going to do is create a new scenario. And we're going to send things from Vapi to Make via a webhook. It's going to be a webhook. So there's a couple of ones in here. Trigger when the mail receives data, or trigger when the webhook receives data. I'm going to hit in that one. We are going to add a new webhook. It's going to be the YouTube tester. And what it's doing is it's just going to run in here. And this is the actual webhook address. So this is important. We're going to copy this. Alright. Now I need you to just stay with me for a second and think about this. Vapi uses a thing called tools and functions. Once we have a collection of data, it's going to send that via call the tool to a webhook. So it collects a database and it sends that database to a webhook. Now that database of collection is called a tool or a function. So we have all this in here. We're going to call it soon. We're just going to we're going to create it, and I'll show you where we create it. So we're going to come on the left hand side. We're going to go to tools. We're going to create a new tool, and it's going to be a make one because we're using make, and that's where we're going to paste in that URL. It must be the save one. So a tab in here and hit next down the bottom. So what is going to be in our database? The database is going to be called YouTube test because we're testing in there. But what's going to be in there? We're going to have a what's my name, your first name. So we're going to call it first name. So this is important. It needs to become together because it's going to be a string. Don't think about it too much. Keep it the same. So first name, the purpose is when the caller gives their name. Alright, so if we're going to call the function too. You'll see, just need to think about it a little bit, but we're going to have a collection of data called YouTube data, and in the YouTube data we're going to have their name, because that's what we asked them for. So when they get their name, it's going to assign a name, and we're going to add one, and we're going to call it email when the call the not when, but the caller's email address. I just need to save this one too. The caller's name. Alright, the more you expand on it, if you have different types of tools, again, it can get really big if you need to, but this is the basics. So we want to collect the first name, last name, send it to make.com. Make is going to connect it into Highlevel. Just going to hit next in here. YouTube test. Collect the name and email address. Yep. Can't have spaces, remember. YouTube test. Now if this all gets a bit confusing, again watch to the end. I'll show you to get the free course. Go through my own YouTube channel. There's lots of cool videos up and on about all of these things, but don't despair. If it doesn't make sense, you can do it. Just keep watching and we'll go through it. So the system's going to say hello. We're going to get a name. We're going to get an email, and I want it to use the tool. So it gets a bit complicated because it calls it functions. Used to be the old one. Then it calls it tools. We're just going to go in here. We're just going to give it authority. So we give it permission to run the tool. So the tool is to collect the data from the database. All right, YouTube test in there. Just need to remember how you spell it. Oops. So it's going to come in here. So once you collect their name and their email, run the tool called YouTube test. Alright, I'm not quite sure if I have the little brackets right. You need to remember the difference between doubles and singles. It gets confusing sometimes, but we'll see if this works. So we'll hit the publish button in here. Now, what we need to do, see how this is waiting. So it's going to wait to receive a data structure. Alright, so again, just going to think about this. Don't overthink it too much. Might make it complicated here. But we are going to create a database, and in the database is going to be a name, there's going to be an email address. We want to send that data over to the webhook to send the database over. We call it a tool and a function, and that tool now is called YouTube test. So let's give this a go and see how that works. It doesn't auto save, so remember to hit those all the time.
Welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good to hear. I hope your day is going better than a cat trying to catch its own tail. I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, so he can send you a quote. What's your name?
David.
Great, David. Now, could I have your email address, please?
David@gmail.com.
Hold on a sec. Thanks, David.
Alright, here we go. Data structure determined successfully. So you need to do kind of like two tests, and I'll show you why. But it has successfully run the tool, and it's sent a little data structure to make. So awesome work in here. I'm going to hit OK. And now what we're just going to do is we're just going to run it once, and I'll show you why and what it's going to show up. So let's do that all again. Up. Waiting for it, but push publish.
Hello, welcome to the iAutomation
Yeah, okay.
Just okay? I hear that's the new fantastic in some circles. Now I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner Mike to get you a quote. What's your name?
David. My name is David.
Nice to meet you, David. And could I have your email, please?
David@gmail.com.
Just a sec. It seems like there was an issue with
Alright, done. Alright, so what's happened is it's sent a database over. So this is gonna move my face this way for a second. Move it over there. So have a look over here. So what we have here is the bundle. The bundle is called the database, and in here we go. You can go through it. The calls come through. It will show the number if it's in there, but obviously calling from the webhook, so it's in here. And when we use the number, we can manipulate things. But functions, YouTube tests, the argument, email, and David, right? So it's send data to us. Awesome. And here's the one of two big tips. Whatever the data structure is here is what we're going to use from now on. If you change your function name, it's going to be different. If you change the spelling of this or this, it's going to be different, and it's not going to work throughout your automation. A lot of people are downloading blueprints and they just go with what's written in the rest of the blueprint, but these might be different. So what you need to do is you need to create a standard webhook, or you need to disconnect the rest of the webhook into just by itself, redetermine the data structure, remap it. It will make sense as we go. But now, what we're going to do is, now I need you to think again, because this is tip number 2. If David exists in our Go Highelvel, then it's going to update it with a tag. If David does not exist in our Highlevel, then we need to create him, and I'll show you how that works. So I'm just going to come to YouTube, Highlevel, and I'm just going to go to context. Let's make sure there's no David. There might be a David already. And then go David. Oh, look at that. David already exists. Delete that David too. We still delete. Delete it. And again, guys, just watch to the end. I'll show you how you can get a free Highlevel mini course. Go into it. It will go through everything and it will show you how to do basics of Highlevel. But number 2, I'm going to add a test in here. So with tags. So how it's going to work, keep in the back of your mind. Once someone comes in here, we're going to add a tag to that person. Once a tag gets activated in Highlevel, we're going to do some things to it, and I'll show you how that works. So the tag is YouTube, YouTube, cool, YouTube, cool. You need to remember spelling in case sensitive. So, all right, just remember this. All right, let's start building out the make scenario, and I'll show you how to do this next. Now, make.com has a default Highlevel integration. So it's really, really easy. Come in here. It's called lead connector. Go Highlevel lead connector. So now remember what I said. We need to first make sure that David's in the system or not. So for this one, we're going to search David. If it doesn't exist, I'll show you what to do. If it does exist, it's going to create him, and I'll show you. Just means we're going to have to run this a few times to build it out. Really easy to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm always going to search by email address, or if you have a number, by number. So Highlevel, you can't have duplicate email addresses, and you can't have duplicate phone numbers. So what I'm going to do in here is we're going to search for the email address. Oops, no, that's the name. Fill in the name and correct email address. So once it's searched for the email address, I'll show you what it's going to show up. Alright, just go through this. Like that, this is really, really crucial. I really need to understand this logic behind these couple of steps. We're going to make a couple of phone calls like this.
Hello, welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Fantastic, huh? Are you secretly a superhero saving the world one day at a time? By the way, I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, so he can send you a quote. What's your name?
My name is David.
Great to meet you, David. Now, could you please provide your email address?
David@gmail.com.
This'll just take a sec. Thanks for that, David.
Alright, done, right? Okay, it's come in here, the webhook is fired, it's sent it into here, it's searched for a contact, and see what it shows here. Alright, here's the bundle. In fact, it found a contact ID called David. Ah, right. I know what I did wrong. Okay, I've connected a different Highlevel account to this. So, I need to restart all of this. I'm going to delete this. It doesn't have the Vapi account to it. So, delete module. I'm going to add a Highlevel lead connector. We're going to search contact. I'm going to need to add a new connection. Alright, so when you're coming through, you need to do this from the start. It's going to connect to my Highlevel. And what I've done wrong here is I had another account in there. Should have showed you about it, how it shows if it has it in there. So I'm going to connect the Vapi one in here. Just keep watching, it's all going to make sense. So it's connected Vapi, and our query again is going to be searching for that email address. Alright, so it's going to hit save in here. Okay, and it's going to call this YouTube test. Alright, so we are just going to see. This should all be good again. So let's just do this again. I'll show you what I mean. All I did there was connected to a different Highlevel account that David existed.
Hello, welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
Yeah, okay.
Just okay? Well, that's better than a Monday morning coffee spill. I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, so he can send you a quote. What's your name?
David.
Thanks, David. Now, could I have your email address, please?
David@gmail.com.
This'll just take a sec. It seems there was an issue retrieving.
Alright, so now it's search for David. So, what it shows in here, it shows that David doesn't exist, alright? The output shows 0 results. And that's one or two things we need. So we're going to split things off. So let me just create a David, and I'll show you what David looked like. I should have showed it at the start, but it's alright. Let's come back in here. Contacts. I'm just going to add a contact called David test David at gmail.com. Now, David exists. So let's just run this one more time.
Hello, welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
Fine, thanks.
Just fine? I guess that means you're not being chased by any wild animals today. Now I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, to get you a quote. What's your name?
David.
Thanks, David. Now could you please provide me with your email?
David@gmail.com.
This'll just take a sec. It looks like there was no result.
Alright, let's run that. So let's have a look in here. So right, so see how this is different. Contact ID exists, and therefore it's going to come in here and grab David's contact ID. And that's what we need. To update anything, we need to add David's contact ID and then update it with a tag. If David doesn't exist, Then we're gonna give it a new tag or a new contact and with a tag. So easy peasy, gonna come in here. So for this example, David exists. So what we need to do is we're gonna add a router. And add a router in here. So number one is gonna be if David exists, then we are gonna update it. So high level, get specifics, create a new contact, update an existing contact. So if David exists, I want to give it that contact tag that we've put in here. Back to settings, we're going to come to tags, and we have this YouTube call in here. Okay, so it's going to come back here. So contact ID, because we have a contact ID. There she is. We're going to add the contact ID in here, and we are going to scroll down. Where's tags? Tags. Are tags in here? Oh, look. Yeah. Makes actually really good. Don't have to remember it. Just add it in here. Just want to hit save here. And I'll show you. So, contact. I'm gonna scroll down. Let's move my face for a second. One more time. I might put it in the top this time. So when I come down, David doesn't have any tags. So let's go back into here. So just need to think about this for a second. If this is the tip, number one tip, number two, biggest tip, all right? This is what we're building out here, the steps. If David doesn't exist, we need to create him. If David exists, then we update the tag. So if, I'll show you the levels in here, but now we're going to have to create a contact. Our level, so we are going to have to search contact, get contact, create a contact. And here we go. This is going to be the fun part. So the email address is, going to scroll down here, and we're going to come to tools, functions, arguments, email address. And we're going to add first name in here. Right, so this is what I mean by mapping data from a webhook. If these aren't dark red colors or blue colors, and if it's just the outline, and you've downloaded a scenario like this, then this is where you're going to run into the problems, okay? This is what you're going to run into. And it's not going to work and it's going to fail. So we need to make sure they map properly, but the webhook first need to receive the data. So we're going to create a new contact with an email. We're going to create a new contact with first name. And then we're going to give it that YouTube tag. Okay. So easy peasy, two things. But how do we know how this works? Like, how do we know it should go down here? How do we know it goes down there? So if we think back at the start, it didn't have a contact ID if it doesn't exist. When it does exist, it does have a contact ID. So we're going to come in here and we're just going to call it doesn't have a contact ID. So it means they're not in there. So condition is contact ID does not exist. Easy as that. If there's no contact, so it searches through, it doesn't get a contact, it doesn't get a contact ID, it needs to come down the first one, and it's going to create it. Oh, I hope I had that all right in here. I really forgot to move my face. I'll just go through it in the second one, but I just wrote this in manually myself. Contact ID I selected, and I added the rule that says it does not exist. Alright, hit that and save. And in here, contact ID does. And all I'm going to come in here, condition is the contact ID, and drop down here, exists. Alright, that's all it is. So I'm just going to repeat this again, because like I say, I try to help out so many people with this. Really, really good, really, really great. but they get stuck with this and they don't understand how or why it fails. And again, most of the time when you get a scenario blueprint, these bits don't exist, and you have to fill in the filters yourself. So filters. A router is going to choose a route. It chooses a route depending on the filter, and just to repeat, it's going to receive the data. It's going to look and see if David exists. If David does not exist, it's going to create David. If David does exist, we're just going to update the tag. And then once a tag gets updated, I'll show you how to build a high level automation. So just going to come in here and we're just going to run this for a second. I'm going to run this. So just need to save it. And let's go again. So David already exists. Remember, we just did David. I didn't delete him.
Hello, welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome. Probably better than my plants, which are still debating if they want to live or not. Anyway, I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, so he can send you a quote. What's your name?
David.
Thanks, David. Now, could you please provide me with your email?
David@gmail.com.
Give me a moment.
Oh, alright. Let's give a second here.
Looks like we hit
Alright. Problems. What's the story in here? Invalid email address. Alright, what did I write down? So limit query David Ed. My goodness. Don't know what you're on about, Vapi. In my other ones, I talk about it. Must only be a valid email address. Let's just try fix that. I'll come in here. Ask them for the email address. The email address you select must be in a valid email format. You're always going to run into problems. Check those out. Especially different languages and people sounding different with different accents. Let's run that again.
Welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic? That's great. I hope your fantasticness doesn't run out before lunch. By the way, I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, so he can send you a quote. What's your name?
It's David.
Nice to meet you, David. Now, could you please provide me with your email address?
David@gmail.com.
This'll just take a sec. Thank you, David. I've sent your information to...
Great. That's how it works. I don't know if you saw it run through. Got David. It's search. It got the email address. In here, it got David. It's search high level for David. It found David. It has a contact ID and it's going down here. And now in here, just hit that refresh. Now this is where you need to really get good at high level as well. Because once we can update and add things into Go High Level, we can add workflows, we can add emails, we can add SMSs, we can... The possibilities are absolutely endless in here. The tag in here, let's scroll down a little bit. If you see it, added the YouTube call tag. And we'll go into the next afterwards. I just want to show you what happens if we delete David. It's going to go in here. David. So we're going to hit it in here. And again, we're going to hit delete. And again, I can't stress enough, watch to the end. You'll have a good function and functionality of a course in the little community for high level, and a totally different link to a really great course about how Vapi setting up calendars if you need to look on calendars. And again, some of my other in the videos shows you how to make high level bookings. Those high level bookings syncs into the calendar. You can schedule YouTube calls, and it again can sync with Gmail and things like that as well. So really, really great information to come up if you want to build your AI agency in 2025. But here we go again. So I'm going to come in here, going to hit that play button. We're going to come to talk.
Welcome to the iAutomation Hub. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's fantastic. I guess that means the coffee is working overtime today. I'm going to take down your email and send it to the owner, Mike, to get you a quote. What's your name?
David.
Thanks, David. Could you please share your email address with me? Just make sure it's in a valid format.
David@gmail.com.
One moment. It looks like there was an issue with that email format. Could you please...
Alright, it doesn't matter. So what it's done is it's now going to, and it's created a new contact. Alright, so come in here. It does not find that contact. So now we have gone and created a contact called David, and also come back here. We're going to research for David, and David in here has a contact tag called YouTube call. And that's pretty much it. That's how you connect Vapi to Highlevel. And from here, you can build and add many other things. I'll just show you some couple of options in here. I'll just hit the save. You can rebuild, you can add into this. We can add custom emails. We can add so many options. And the options that Highlevel have is, if I can zoom into this. Here we go. We can search for contacts. You can get the contact like we did. We create contacts, we update contacts, we delete contacts. You can build opportunities. So opportunities is workflows, is pipelines in Highlevel. So I can come in here, opportunities, and I have these pipelines in here where it's either a new lead, a cold calling lead, a new client, or another client. And I have all these in here, either the demo, we can have the missed call text back system. So pipelines is just to keep your clients in here. And again, if, for example, they get a tag, let's say you create a new caller called David. David's come in, he gets a tag. I can have here missed calls in here in my automation from Highlevel. And I'll quickly delve into this at the end. You can add any automation with a tag to add them into this if they need to. But that's just a couple of options. We have search opportunities, get opportunities, create a new opportunity from that contact. We can update them if they need to move along. We can delete them out of it. We can add a specific task for that person. So I can add this in here where we need to find a task. So list all the tasks that needs to be done for David. We can get a specific task once it's listed, or we can create a task. So not only can I create a tag, I can now, if David belongs to a user in Highlevel, I can create a task for that user. So let's say owner Mike is not the owner, but he is the he's the person, the salesperson that does quotes. All new contacts is listed into that. We're going to also email him, and then we're going to create a task that they need to send them a quote. And that's how you do that in here. Update task, create task, delete task. We're going to add them to different email containers, do notes for them, add to different accounts, and there's a bit more, make a specific API call. So the endless possibilities from just this little start. And then the beautiful thing about Highlevel is the automations. Like, it's so simple with a tag. Everything can happen with a tag. I'll just come in here and I'll show you. And create a new opportunity. And we're going to get a tag in here. So tag. The contact has a tag. And the tag is added. And a specific tag is the YouTube. I'll save the trigger. And here we can go. We can do SMS. We can SMS them if they have a number. We can send emails. send them an email with a confirmation. And in here we can add notes now. Now we can add notes if you want to skip the rest of the part, so you don't have to do it through the make part. We can add tasks to that contact. Tasks. You can add a task to the contact. Double the opportunities, different things. For me, the most important part is getting a person into Go High Level. Once we're into Go High Level, the opportunities is endless. Because remember, high level, you don't pay per trigger or automation. Doesn't need to be, doesn't have to be. Where else in make.com you have a limit, or you have to pay per step. Okay? So just to summarize again, Vapi is the best and by far incoming, outgoing AI voice agent. And again, we'll go through it where you can find a good course for it and really need to learn and master it because the possibilities and setups are endless. But you also want to have, if someone calls you, you want to grab their details. You want to know how they are. You want to get back to them just in general, or you just want to have a list of people that called you so you can call them back. And that's really good to keep them in the CRM system with great capabilities like Highlevel. And to get it in there, we're going to create tools in Vapi that connects to Webhook, and that Webhook is going to send the data to Highlevel. But we want to make sure that when we send contact details in it, are they a contact? Yes or no? If they're not, let's create it. If they are, just go through this path. And this is the biggest part that people are struggling with at the moment. So I hope that all kind of makes sense. And the possibilities, again, it's just so endless. You can build and make so many things and so many options from this and really sell it to small businesses. They absolutely eat this up where these things happen on autopilot and you don't have to have a reception. You can handle missed calls instead of missed call text backs. It's just endless, endless possibilities. If you want to learn high level more, I'll put the link down the bottom. It's a free community source with a free tools and a free course. It's a small basic course on high level. That's all it is. It is basic and it will show you all the options, and I go through it on the start where I work through the entire high level and I just explain everything on your menu, and I go for settings and I explain everything through in the settings. Really basic, but it should get you started. And then the next one is this really cool Vapi course I have. If you click on it, and this just makes so much money for people. AI voice assistants in 2025 is the go-to. Go through here. I'll show you what you get. You build a full AI voice system. You can sell. You can rent them out. The course has got many modules. I also quite often update it. I have a chiropractor snapshot in here. Shows you how to make a good advanced booking system in there. And I've recently just added and I'll add that one in here, database reactivation. So let's say you have a database, either someone maybe clicks on your Facebook ads, or you have a med spa that has previous clients. Let's call them back, and you can do outbound calls with Vapi, and I'll show you how to do that all in here. So have a look at the links below. So much information here, and you really don't have an excuse to start your 2025 AI journey with AI voice assistants. So much to learn and so much opportunities. And the fact is, get into it now. Get ready for 2025 and get rolling now. Lots to learn, lots to understand, and a lot of money to make. Let's do a team and let's get out there. Thanks.